Introduction. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're doing well and feeling curious today. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered how money was born, or why the dollar is the world's top currency today? In this video, we'll explore the powerful story of money from its earliest beginnings to the modern dominance of the US dollar. This isn't fiction, it's the real journey of humans moving from bartering goats and grains to using paper money, gold, and eventually the dollar. We'll explain everything step by step in simple English, making it easy for beginners to understand while also serving as great listening practice. So, subscribe, stay tuned, and dive into this fascinating journey. The barter system. The first form of trade. Thousands of years ago, there was no money, no coins, notes, banks, or credit cards. So, how did people trade? They used the barter system, exchanging goods directly. For example, if someone had rice and another had milk, they might agree to trade 5 kilos of rice for 2 liters of milk. This system worked for simple societies, but soon faced major problems. The biggest issue was the double coincidence of wants. Both parties had to simultaneously want what the other offered. There was no standard value, and saving wealth was difficult. As civilizations grew, bartering became impractical, leading to the birth of money. The rise of commodity money. Before coins, people used items like cowrie shells, salt, or grains as money because they were rare, portable, and widely accepted. However, gold and silver eventually became the preferred choice. They were durable, divisible, and could be shaped into jewelry or coins. Around 600 BC, the first official coins were minted in Lydia under King Aluates. These coins, made from electrum, bore royal stamps to guarantee their value. Soon, other civilizations like India, China, Greece, and Rome adopted coinage, creating a centuries-long global monetary system, the invention of paper money. Despite their advantages, coins had drawbacks. They were heavy, risky to transport, and required precious metals. In 7th century China, during the Tang dynasty, traders began using promissory notes, paper receipts redeemable for coins. By the 11th century, the Song dynasty issued the world's first government-backed paper money, the jiaozi. These notes were backed by gold, silver, featured anti-counterfeit seals, and harsh penalties forgery were imposed to build trust. Marco Polo brought tales of paper money to Europe, but it wasn't until the 1600s that goldsmiths in London introduced similar systems, leading to modern banknotes, the gold standard, and the dollar's rise. By the 1800s, countries adopted the gold standard, linking paper money to a fixed amount of gold. For example, the US pegged $1 to 1.5 grams of gold. This system stabilized currencies and facilitated global trade. However, World War I shattered the gold standard as nations printed excessive money to fund the war, causing inflation. After a brief revival, the Great Depression and World War II further destabilized economies, except for the US, which emerged unscathed with vast gold reserves. Bretton Woods and dollar dominance. In 1944, 44 nations met in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, to redesign the global financial system. They established the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, backed by gold. Other currencies were pegged to the dollar, which was trusted due to America's economic strength and gold reserves. The dollar became the backbone of international trade for oil, goods, and central bank reserves. The Nixon shock and fiat money. By the 1960s, U.S. spending outpaced its gold reserves. 1971, President Nixon ended dollar-gold convertibility, transitioning to fiat money, currency backed by government trust, not physical assets. Despite this, the dollar remained dominant due to trust in the U.S. economy. Global trade reliance, U.S. Treasury bonds, military and political influence. Challenges to dollar hegemony. Recent decades have seen growing resistance to dollar dominance. Examples include BRICS nations exploring a gold-backed currency. D-Dollalization. Countries like China and Russia trade in local currencies, and Saudi Arabia accepts the yuan for oil. Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and blockchain offer decentralized alternatives. Though governments resist losing control, CBDCs, Over 130 countries are developing central bank digital currencies for faster, borderless payments. The dollar's global impact. The dollar's strength affects everyday lives worldwide. Stronger dollar equals weaker local currencies, making imports more expensive. U.S. interest rates. When the Federal Reserve raises rates, global investors flock to U.S. assets, draining capital from emerging markets. Debt traps. Countries borrowing in dollars face crises if their currency depreciates. Inequality. The rich hedge against inflation, while the poor suffer rising costs. The future of money. The financial world is at a crossroads. Digital revolution, CBDCs, crypto, and apps are reshaping payments. Multipolar system. No single currency may dominate. Trust and technology will decide the winners. Your role? Understanding these shifts helps you save, invest, and adapt wisely. Conclusion. From barter to Bitcoin, money's evolution reflects power, trust, and innovation. The dollar's reign faces challenges, but its legacy endures. As currencies evolve, knowledge is your greatest asset. Stay curious, diversify, and prepare for a future where money is more than paper identity, freedom, and opportunity. You're part of the next chapter being written now.